Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to our 2019 D23 recap with the boy Benny.
Hi, hello.
Connor.
Why?
I gotta keep you on your toes. You guys fucking around.
You were passing notes and shit.
Yeah.
So folks, it's been a pretty epic past few days. A lot of announcements by Disney at D23. So now we're going to recap that shit for you in a digestible podcast format.
I'd love it if we could zoom in on your face.
Just like slowly pan in, like 1970s style. Hello there.
Welcome to the podcast. Today.
And Benny, you're going to be running the show.
Yep.
We have a fair few stories, a few announcements, a few trailers. Why don't you wind them back for us, bro?
Now, normally, being me, when I write the show, I would put all the Marvel stuff right up front. So who gives a shit about Star Wars? But the answer to that question is, George, you do. So I thought I'd give you a solid, do you a solid and put it right up at the beginning.
Thank you, man.
We have our first special look. Not our first, but they released the trailer-ish thing that they showed at D23 for Star Wars Episode 9 and a poster. Why don't you describe it? Because
Let's talk trailer first.
Yeah.
So we're talking Episode 9 trailer.
Yes.
So I thought we were talking about the Disney Plus trailer first. That's so confusing. Okay. I'm on board.
So let's talk. So special look. The front half of this trailer is all a bit of a retrospect of the Star Wars franchise. And yeah, to be honest, I didn't love it, but it's cool to see a few of those familiar faces, whatever. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this and talk about the stuff in the back half, the Episode 9 stuff. This is looking beautiful. Like JJ knows how to shoot a film, man. He also knows, he's got that 360 producer director thing where he kind of knows, hey, we need to show some cool shit. So Rey spinning a lightsaber around in a forest, cutting down trees. That's good writing, and that's like, we need to see new shit with the lightsabers and whatnot. There's a couple shots in here that are really, really iconic. Like the very sort of I've never seen ships in Star Wars come out of hyperspace and kind of be so shadowy before. I thought that was a really interesting shot. There's a lot of iconic imagery in here that I think is already sort of deeply rooted in Star Wars mythos already, particularly Dark Rey. And I think that's where people are talking, that's what people are talking about the most.
Yep.
So I guess let's get straight into it. Like, what's your theories on Dark Rey? What do you think's going on here?
I reckon that's a really cool marketing ploy, but that's going to be a Force vision.
Such fan bait.
Yeah,
I think it's a Force vision.
Hey, everyone talk about the trailer. Yeah, the two prevailing sentiments at the moment are a vision or some kind of, some Force thing, or a clone.
Yeah.
Something to do with Palpatine.
Feels very much like a ploy.
If they go down that Rey is a clone of Palpatine and there's more Rey clones, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy that.
I honestly can't think of any use of Darth Sidious that I'm going to be really happy with.
Me neither.
On paper, I'll have to see the final product. It feels like a very odd direction for them to be taking.
There was I can't remember whether it was you or I saw it on the internet or something about the theory about there's some time travel aspects, or
Red Letter Media did a time travel thing.
Did they? Yeah, I'm almost certainly confusing a bunch of the different theories because they're fucking all over the place at this point.
I think they pointed to the line, 1,000 generations live within you now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think Force Vision. We saw a Force Vision in Force Awakens and Last Jedi. That will continue on.
Here's my question: if it's a Force Vision, why the cool lightsaber?
That is a very, very good point. And the only thing that kind of makes me go, because why would it be a double blade?
It's Kylo. He's trying to lure. He's like, see how cool you could be?
Yeah.
Because when
Don't
Luke,
you want a double?
This is effectively the equivalent of Luke on Dagobah going into the cave and seeing Darth Vader. Like, this is the equivalent of
You
that.
should not be allowed to put Force visions in trailers. Goddamn.
Yeah, but that's it's such like
it's somehow the
fan-baiting.
most and least disappointing thing this could be.
If this is a clone, I know I've already said it, but I'm gonna fucking be pissed, man. I'm gonna be on paper. Maybe they can make it work with me.
Yeah.
the presentation.
That's always a thing. Something can sound dumb
Yeah.
on paper and really kind of come to life on screen. And it can
Totally.
be the vice versa. Something can sound really good on paper and then
Yep.
the execution on screen is just fucking shocking. But look, I'll be honest. I enjoyed the teaser trailer more than I enjoyed this.
Mhm.
This kind of, I don't know. There's something about it that didn't quite feel as epic as the first one.
There's still
That
no-
fucking jump slow motion over the ship is just, that's very iconic.
We still have nothing in terms of story.
No.
Nothing.
What about the possibility that no one will even bother acknowledging that Rey, that's not a vision or a clone or anything, that's Rey?
Well, that could definitely be the case because I have heard that Palpatine is a spirit and he can inhabit bodies.
Mm.
So,
Does that feel satisfying to you?
No, but they've previously brought in mythos that I've enjoyed, such as the Rey and Kylo having those Force conversations. That was new to the franchise. I'm willing for them to keep adding new ideas and
Yeah.
whatnot, as long as it's done in the proper way. And concern with this film, I was really thinking about it this week, and I think I've kind of diagnosed what my concern is with The Rise of Skywalker, in that this is supposed to be the end of a trilogy, but we've had a very wonky trilogy. But the first film, which has been very definitively reboot the franchise, and it's a requel.
Reintroduce.
The second one is definitively Rian Johnson's film and his little touchstone in his film career, almost, to say, this is my Star Wars film, and this is kind of the subversion of expectations.
Yeah.
So then when you get to the third film, you get the first director coming back, not really enjoying what the other guy does. And to be honest, The Last Jedi, I do love the film, but it does end on a really weird note. It doesn't finish on a propelling the story
It
forward.
would
It
be the
doesn't
spark that ignites the flame that burns the thing. That,
the flame. It doesn't finish on an Empire Strikes Back cliffhanger. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, we made it out, and the rebellion has about 6 people in it.
this was always my major concern from day one. My major concern about having different directors kind of
Yeah.
haphazardly piece this trilogy together, and that
And you're going to see
feels
it.
a little bit like it's coming to fruition in the sense that these trilogies should have a consistent and kind of well thought
Uniform.
out, exactly, story. And I mean, you can say what you want about the prequel trilogy, but at the very least, it feels as though it was more or less thought out from beginning to end.
Yeah,
In fact, on paper, that trilogy is really cool and interesting.
Yeah, the only thing that feels like wasn't planned out for that entire prequel trilogy was how much Jar Jar Binks' role got reduced in the second one. It really feels quite unified in that way.
Yeah.
And this trilogy does not feel a piece at all, only having seen 2 of them. What really was highlighted to me was, with the little retrospective at the beginning, was how much less epic this trilogy feels so far than those 2 previous trilogies.
Yeah.
And say what you will about the quality of the prequel one, but in terms of scale and scope, it's massive.
Yeah, and you get a shot of Rey, Poe, Finn, of them all together, and I was kind of like,
Have they known each other for 2 weeks or something?
I'm not in love with these characters.
Mm.
I really want to be in love with these characters, but there's a couple of decisions made in The Last Jedi that, as strong as I think that film is, a lot of the decisions made in that film for the betterment of a trilogy, it's not there. But for the film itself, it's awesome.
I remember thinking around the time of Force Awakens, and we've spoken about it ad nauseum, but it never felt to me like JJ had a solid plan for any of this, or anyone did really at Disney.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't in the lead up to this one. I really hope to be proven wrong, even if it is after the fact that they've figured it all out. But yeah, I don't know. What about C-3PO?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Blazing up.
I really hope he's being possessed by Sidious or something. I think
think
that
he might
would be
be.
really fun. Sidious is just pinging around the room, going
Yeah.
through different people.
Yeah, that could definitely be a way it goes.
I just want to throw in a crazy prediction as well, because may as well get it out there. with
If you throw enough shit, eventually
exactly,
someone will stick.
Absolutely, and no one's going to remember all the wrong stuff I said. With Rey and her double lightsaber, maybe it's like a digital alteration, and she's got like one red and one blue or green. Because you know how moving forward, a lot of us think it might be more about balance in the Force, not about the light versus the dark, or the Sith and the Jedi. Maybe a Skywalker is someone who embraces both.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Even though she looks evil af.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when JJ will doctor it for the trailer.
Yeah.
Can I also mention around, because we keep coming back to that lightsaber, do you think that he felt as though he had to one up himself in finding
100%.
an equally, if not more, ridiculous and arbitrary style of lightsaber?
I believe
after the whole Kylo Ren thing.
I believe there's a character in
There
Clone
is
Wars or
in
something.
an old one, yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it like a sensible design.
No.
Why? What advantage is there in just having two lightsabers slightly apart from
Say
each
what
other?
you will about JJ, he knows how to hype shit up, man. And
Yeah.
and as I said, he wears that producer hat more so than say a Ryan Johnson does. He knows, hey, we need to have some hooks. That's a hook. He's thinking when he's writing in a double lightsaber that flips out like that in this script, he's thinking, what's that going to look like in the trailer?
Yeah.
Such a dickish hook, though.
It is.
like Rey's evil. It's like, no, she's not. You're lying. It's like there was a shot of Rey with a red lightsaber in the trailer for The Last Jedi. That didn't amount to anything. And also, nothing will seem ridiculous to me ever again after the helicopter lightsabers from Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, yeah. They were awesome.
Are you sure?
Can I say one more thing just on what you were saying, the sort of patchwork job or not really being having no clear idea? I think there's another couple of things that point to this in this film, in that Princess Leia evidently has a really major role, and that was totally retrofitted from 7.
Yeah.
So he's having to cobble shit together there.
Yeah.
And then also you've got this whole Death Star thing, which is from concept art from Force Awakens. So all that stuff with her going into, we're going to see with the ocean of them fighting on the Death Star there. We're going to see her go swimming into the Death Star, go fighting some shit. This is all stuff from Episode 7. So it's almost like discarded ideas for a film and like trying to figure out this trilogy that doesn't really have a beginning, middle, and an end. I'm very curious to see how this film turns out.
So JJ's kind of using his old ideas. I don't know why they don't try and find. You know what? I want to see the Trevorrow cut.
Oh man, remember that? Wow.
We've been kind of overwhelmingly negative about this trailer, which I don't think really kind of is accurate, at least for myself, because I did enjoy this trailer.
Me too.
I got excited about it, and as gimmicky as Evil Rey is, that lightsaber made me interested in. The look of the trailer and the feel of the trailer was really kind of well done.
I'm very excited to see it, but probably not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
We also got a poster for the film. Not much to talk about here,
Don't
but
like
it does
it.
feature Sidious looking
Very-
extremely cartoony.
Yeah.
Looks right out of the Clone Wars.
I'm not sure about the art direction here.
So, what is very fun about this is people have discovered, they've done some sleuthing. This image of Darth Sidious is from a hot toy.
Oh.
Is it really?
They've taken it from a hot toy. If you look up Sidious hot toys, you can probably find the comparison images, but when you lay it right over there from the official Facebook page from Hot Toys,
Shut up.
it's spot on. And they've given him those bright yellow eyes that make him look bizarrely cartoony. But
Wow.
yeah, very interesting.
No, this can't be real.
Yeah, I was extremely skeptical because you see these things, but looking at the comparison, it's pretty crazy.
That's an insane move. I wonder why.
This shit just happens. I guess someone doesn't have the proper image, and they're like, "This is fine."
Hot like an official
But
poster
that
at
doesn't
D23.
seem right for exactly. This is a real official poster. This is Disney. This is
come on,
Star
remember
Wars.
all those Nick Fury ads from Far From Home where they kept flipping which side his eye patch was on?
No, I don't.
So
But I'm angry about it.
this actually happens way more than you'd expect, is people using hot toy images for real things, because they are pretty crazy, the photography on them sometimes.
Yeah.
Not like in the poster at all.
No.
They're fighting in the middle of space, it looks like. It's very strange.
I think that the epicness of it, I enjoyed. I just think the layout and the general color selection is really strong. I just think they could have tweaked it a little bit to make it less cartoony. And somebody
it
on my
also looks-
Facebook feed actually did a whole redo of it, but more realistic, and it looked way better.
It looks too transparent.
Mm.
That's what really kind of bothers me. There's no solidity to that poster.
It's because he's a good ghost.
I wonder how this whole Snoke Sidious thing is going to resolve, eh?
Man.
Like, do you think Snoke is going to be mentioned in Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, I feel like they'll just be Sidious was possessing him.
So he used to be like, my apprentice,
Oh.
Snoke. He
How
wasn't
disappointing.
very good, though.
Yeah, everyone hated him.
He was an asshole, but I took him under my wing.
Oh, man.
This, you know, I
I'm
didn't
so
mention
curious
this.
how this shit turns out. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be here when it comes out. You
How
guys-
crazy is that?
Same.
Yeah, man.
One of the weirdest things about this, I've got to say, is, or not even the weirdest. One of the things that most concerns me is bringing back Sidious feels like such a
Cowardly
bullshit.
move.
yeah, like a bullshit fan servicey.
Who haven't we gotten back from the original
Exactly,
trilogy yet?
right? Like it's just kind of like fucking just believe in yourself. Like just create something
Make
that
Kylo
is
the bad guy.
yeah, or
Tell
like,
a new story.
yeah, that really frustrates me because I'm like, fuck,
Mm.
like just do like I was so I'm such an apologist for the Force Awakens in terms of why it is like a, you know, in many people's minds like a shot for shot remake of A New Hope. And I'm totally an apologist for that because I'm like, that was the remit. That was the point of that. It was to kind of rediscover the original and present it in a new and kind of interesting way. And I felt like whatever they did after that, however they kind of take it in their own voice is however they do it. But I'm accepting of that in the first one. And when what was the first Star Wars story?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. When Rogue One came out, I fucking lost my shit every time they tried to pull some nostalgic bullshit in that. That angered me. And when the Solo was announced, the same thing. I was like, Disney, get a clue. Create your own stories. Like move forward.
Got to back yourself.
Exactly.
Believe in the strength of his property.
Exactly. And that them just bringing Sidious back makes me think that they haven't learned a damn thing. Just, you know, create an interesting and cool story and don't rely on what has come before to propel this.
On to greener pastures.
Yeah,
we got the first official trailer for The Mandalorian.
Oh, baby.
Georgie, you probably got a lot to say about this.
Oh, man. Yummy, yummy. Like, I'm in.
It's a very cool trailer.
I'm way more in than Star Wars Episode 9.
Mm.
I think this looks like what I wanted Rogue One to be.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's got a very Rogue One-y vibe.
Very Western.
Like, this looks so beautifully shot, man.
Mm.
You know, say what you will about Jon Favreau, but it looks like he's got a good hold on this. I'm extremely excited. The time frame as well, and some of the clips I've seen. There's a lot of interesting stuff with, so there's going to be some interesting themes around, the order that the Empire brought in, and that brought stability to some people's lives, and then once that got removed, the chaos,
So this
the
is
fallout
set between original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, yeah?
Episodes 6 and 7. Yeah. So I'm in, man. I think that's a really interesting notion. Dave Filoni's on this. I am just really keen. I'm really keen.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're going for the, more adult Star Warsy stuff, the stuff they wouldn't get away with in the movies.
Yeah. Tonally, this trailer looks really cool. I think it's just a really well cut trailer. On its own, it doesn't really give anything. Yeah, the music's amazing.
Very
it doesn't really
Hansen-y.
give anything away though.
Not at all. And that would be a criticism of this trailer for me, is that it's entirely a mood piece.
Yeah,
There's one line of dialogue spoken by the great Werner Herzog, which is awesome, but you don't get any sense of what this show is really going to be, other than
which is it's weird
Tonally.
because when we get too much information, we complain about all the information they've given us. When we get no information, we complain about the fact that they haven't given us information.
Yeah.
It's such a tightrope to walk when you're cutting a trailer, because you want to give people the mood, the feeling, and a general sense of what it's about. I mean, it can be really difficult to kind of nail that.
I'm glad they kept it at this, because once you get in the details of Star Wars plot, when it's not with characters, I feel like it could be so simple that it gives too much away. Like let's keep it to the strengths of it. I thought this was perfect. And also I loved a little bit with, I believe it's not IG-88, it's IG-11, but him
Played by
twirling
Taika
around.
Waititi.
Dude.
Is it really?
Dude. He's only a cardboard cutout in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Like he's graduated to the big leagues, man. I know it's not the same robot, but still he's the same series, and fuck you. Fuck you, internet. Next thing.
What is the next thing? I thought we'd talk about that longer. Oh, of course. Ewan McGregor has confirmed that he's returning as Obi Wan Kenobi. We talked about this last week. There was very strong rumors that he was coming back.
Yeah.
And he got up there on stage with Kathleen Kennedy and missed what I think was a great opportunity to troll a million billion people, because he said, "Ask me if I'm ever going to return as Obi Wan Kenobi," and she asked him. He said yes. I was like, you should have said no, man.
Yeah.
And then just walked off stage.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the fuck out of here, man.
Fuck the prequels.
That's all my contract says. Boom.
Yeah.
Lightsaber drop. Boom.
Yeah, so this is happening. We're getting a Disney Plus series with Obi Wan Kenobi.
So this is, as far as I'm concerned, the best case scenario for having Obi-Wan return to the universe, because the movie I just felt like was a recipe for disaster. It was super fan servicey. It was people saying things that it was one of those things. George, you mentioned this, I think, on last week's episode, where you're talking about you visualize the perfect cake and you're like, oh, I can't wait to bite into that cake.
Obi-Wan cake.
Yeah, but it's nothing like when you actually get into it, you're like, this isn't what I imagined I wanted.
I don't disagree with you. I completely agree with you. What do you? So why is the TV series better?
For me, because it allows you to. I think when you're talking about characters, TV is always better.
Yeah,
because
it's
you have
less
time
focus
to
on
develop.
spectacle and
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like a movie just kind of feels like, all right, we've got 2 hours to deliver something that's going to
a very simple
please the
arc
fans.
for a character.
Yeah. I still think it's a bit fan servicey. I still think that a lot of the traps that would have been there for a film are still there. I just think that there's a more
It's a better
there's more
platform for
room
that
to kind of
story.
navigate.
Yeah.
One of the traps that is still there is also something that you mentioned, George, which is that there is a little bit of there's something lovely about the idea, or not lovely, but something satisfying. Not even satisfying. I don't know how to describe it. There is something to the idea that in between episode 3 and 4,
He aged 40 years.
he aged 40 years, but also that he has done nothing but sit in a cave and contemplate his mistakes or whatever he's done. And
How did I fuck that up?
yeah, and which is kind of the implication of what he's done. That does not make for an interesting TV series or movie or anything. And I feel like as soon as you open up that Pandora's box, you're kind of asking for trouble.
My mind definitely goes to those places. Yeah, it's like that notion of he was this praised warrior, and then shit went wrong and he went into hiding and he could never reconcile those demons. But we're getting it now, so I hope that they don't overstuff it. I hope they have a bit of PTSD kind of stuff. I hope it's not a swashbuckling Kenobi adventure.
Why do you want PTSD?
His maybe not PTSD, maybe PTSD doesn't have to be from war, but like your friend, your best friend, you're somebody you've worked with for 10 years plus.
They were brothers.
Defecting,
He
and
was
then
the chosen one.
and then the whole empire, becoming the second in command of this empire that crushes the galaxy. I think there's definitely some emotional investment there.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have to have,
I think they obviously have to address the fact that he's going to be reflecting upon the events that happened. Do you think there's any chance that they'll have Hayden Christensen appear in this?
Absolutely.
please.
Yeah, I think he's 100% going to be in this or episode 9.
Yeah.
Please, let's do it.
I think it'd be cool. That sounds really interesting, George. I would be just as happy to see them really lean into the fun of the character. I know it's not the time period for that necessarily, but you know all the hello there memes.
Yeah.
I love Obi-Wan when he's at his kind of cheeriest and wackiest.
I just love seeing Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
Exactly.
To be fair.
And he enjoys the character so much. I think it would be fun to see that come through in the actual show.
I don't disagree. So maybe they can straddle a line. You know, they need to have some of that.
Straddle that line.
Yeah, straddle that.
He's got to say hello there at the start of every episode.
Yeah.
to whoever first walks along.
It's just going to be easy. If we're talking about clones with episode 9, he's going to have a clone and he's going to see it and he's like, hello there. He's like, yeah, I know.
It needs to be like an anime intro. It's like, hello there, Obi-Wan.
So
fucking metal riff.
that's the Star Wars news wrapped up, I think. Marvel was next in the fray. They've announced several new Disney Plus shows on top of all the ones we've already got. She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and Ms. Marvel.
Sorry, I know I mentioned this before, but I don't see... Are we going to talk
Stop
about...
bringing it up on the podcast.
Stop bringing it up, man.
Why are we going to talk about
We
it?
got rid of it.
Oh, right.
She-Hulk.
Fuck you.
She-Hulk is Jennifer Walters, the cousin of Bruce Banner. She got her powers through a blood transfusion after she was terribly injured. The only person who could provide the blood was Bruce Banner. Seems like a really bad idea, but it worked out really well because not only did she get Hulk powers, when she turns into the Hulk, she retains her intelligence and her vocabulary and everything. So not a different persona. And because of that, she generally stays in her Hulk form all of the time, which is really fun because she's a lawyer. So her stories are generally legal procedurals, except she's a Hulk. So
Nice.
this is a really fun story for them to be doing. I feel like my biggest question is, will they do a CGI creation or will they just paint someone green?
Yeah, but I mean, like all the ingredients there for a really fun show. I wonder, like, if this was under somebody other than Disney, I'd be more interested to see if they went on an M rating or an MA rating. Where can it go?
Well, it feels like a character that really could have fit into the Netflix mold, short of the budgetary constraints.
Totally. So that more gritty, murder the week kind of thing. But this sounds really cool, and I'm intrigued to see how they do that origin story with Ruffalo and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll show up. They're gonna have to work hard to justify a blood transfusion from him, though, given how much he hates himself and his condition. I don't know, maybe it's Professor Hulk that would work. An interesting thing about her as well is she also has a superpower similar to Deadpool of medium awareness. She knows she's in a comic book. I don't know how or why they would address that, but it is just an interesting fact about her character.
This seems like a recipe for, if this wasn't under the banner of Marvel and all that, I would look at that and be like, oh, fuck no, I'm never watching that. That looks ridiculous.
Yeah. That's kind of where the fun of it lies, I think.
Yeah, but because it kind of seems to be part of this universe, that I'm just gonna, there's a bit of a, all right.
Yeah,
I'll
just
give it a
expanding the scope of the MCU.
I do have a feeling, though, that this might be one of the ones that I give a miss to.
Oh, no way are you going to miss any of these MCU shows. They're like 6 episodes
I'm
long.
really excited for this one.
All right.
Out of these three, I'm probably most excited for that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so.
So next up we have Moon Knight. This is a character people have been clamoring for ages. He's essentially Marvel's answer to Batman.
Yeah.
He's this multiple personality crime fighter. He got his powers from some Egyptian god, possibly. A lot of his backstory is very unreliable narrator because he's a little mentally unstable.
Okay, that's cool.
So, yeah, you don't know exactly what's going on.
He's a fan favorite, isn't he?
Yeah, and this one really feels like it would have been prime for the Netflix world because it is one of those darker, grittier ones. Like I said, like Batman.
Do you think these three?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, you go.
I think I might be about to say what you're going to say. Do we think that these three are going to be a little bit more on the gritty side? They're going to be
compared to the last ones that were announced. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, compared to the last ones you announced, but
no, absolutely.
I think in the spectrum of the Netflix shows were pretty gritty and bloody, and I don't know that we'll quite get there, but more in that direction.
I think this one will. I think Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk will be much lighter.
Yeah, I think the Hulk one will have to be.
Yeah.
Just because it has to be you have to lean into the ridiculousness of that.
So I've exhausted my knowledge of Moon Knight already. So we'll move on to Ms. Marvel. Now,
It's
Ms.
a
Marvel
really
is
interesting one.
created in 2014. She's only 5 years old. Not the character. She is a very interesting one. She's their first Muslim superhero, Kamala Khan, Pakistani American.
I remember this. Yeah.
She obviously models herself after Captain Marvel, which is an interesting point already because is Captain Marvel that much of a known quantity in the MCU at this point? Is there going to be a Captain Marvel 2 before we get this? And the other really interesting thing is she is an Inhuman, which is a very, very dirty word in the MCU.
I wonder how that'll play out.
So when she was created, obviously the comics were really pushing the Inhumans as an alternative to the X-Men. The Inhumans movie was still a thing that was going to happen, and all of that went downhill so dramatically that people are wondering if maybe they will make her an introduction for mutants into the MCU instead. Just kind of flip the switch there, which could be a way to do it.
Nice.
So what are her superpowers again?
So she's a fun one. She is essentially a cross between Mr. Fantastic and Ant-Man. She can manipulate her body in terms of size in any way imaginable, so she can shrink and stretch, and she looks extremely goofy, so this will not be a gritty show. She's kind of a modern answer to Spider-Man in a lot of ways. She kind of fills that role.
Yeah, I was going to say this feels like a natural extension to Far From Home.
Yeah, like she's a high schooler, so she kind of fills that niche. But yeah, definitely the biggest fan favorite on the list here. She's just very popular. Next up, we got a new poster for Black Widow.
Revealing some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
What's the name of the Russian Captain America?
Red Guardian.
Yeah.
Played by David Harbour.
Awesome.
Big beard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He looks kind of goofy, but I love it.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what direction they take that character in because it's not going to be a serious one, I feel.
I'm very interested to see how they explore that. And I wonder how many other Captain, insert country here will get. And isn't there Captain Britain, Captain Canada?
There's a Captain Canada.
Yeah. There's a fair few, I believe.
Yeah. I hope they get all of them
limited
going
knowledge
eventually.
But yeah, I mean, it's got that very cartoony, comic booky look.
It's a cool poster. It's
all of these posters that got released, or the artwork that got released at D23 had that hand drawn look.
Yeah.
And I wonder why that is. I wonder why they didn't go. Maybe it's because it's more conceptual.
I don't understand for the couple of the other ones. I kind of get it. Like the TV shows, they feel a little less
because it's
big and all that.
They haven't done the photo shoots, so it's just concept art.
Black Widow feels like a one that should feel like crisp and clean, and I don't know why, but it just feels at odds with what I would expect out of an MCU film.
What did you think, Benny?
Oh, I like the poster. I'm still unsure about the film. It's going to have to work very hard to justify itself.
There's some
coming this late after the character, died. It's gonna.
The time for a Black Widow film was when everyone was clamoring for it in Phase 1.
Yeah,
I've already forgotten about fucking Endgame, man. So bring on Black Widow.
Yeah, that being said, I am interested in seeing it. I like kind of the elements that they're throwing into it. Next up, finally, we have an official announcement for Ryan Coogler's Black Panther 2. We'll get that May 6th, 2022.
So Phase 4 moves on.
Yes, yeah. They still haven't really specified anything on that front, but it's good to have a date locked in, even if it is 3 years from now. It feels like they would have really fast-tracked that one. I'm surprised it wasn't on the list.
So that was 2018, right? That was last year. So that's going to be 5 years all up.
It's a lot.
Oh, sorry. No, 4 years.
7 years.
I mean, he has featured in
years.
a number of films since then, but this will be the first.
He was
barely.
He was barely.
If you thought he wasn't in Infinity War much, wait till you see Endgame.
Featured is a very generous word.
Yeah, in terms of he was in shots.
But featured is good. Feature's appropriate.
Very technically, very at the very minimum of that definition. This movie is going to have an enormous amount of pressure on it. Like, proper enormous amount of pressure.
Yeah, make all of the money again.
Yeah, because I think that we talked about this a lot. That first film was set at such a perfect, such a perfect time in the overall cultural kind of the zeitgeist, just like what was happening in the media.
Yes and no. I think a big part of it was not right now, but like finally. It was like about time for this. It could have happened at a different time and everyone would have been like, yes, finally.
Possibly, yeah. It's one of those things that I don't think we'll ever know, just because that's when it happened.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to start a fight. Just that's such a Connor thing to say when you're having like a slight disagreement. It's like, I don't think we can ever really know. There's no real answer to that question.
No, I'm just saying,
It's impossible to say.
I'm trying to move on without creating more of an argument because I still think I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah, of course. Interestingly enough, this is the only other franchise than Iron Man just to have a number in the title. We've seen the logo, so it looks official enough. But do you think they'll give it a subtitle eventually when they figure out what they're making here? Or?
Potentially, man. But I didn't even pick up on that detail.
Neither did I.
Thor Ragnarok, Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
You know, Iron Man is only one that said he
everything announced for the Phase 4 as well.
I think Black Panther 2 works though. It rolls off the tongue nicely.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of what the
Black
subtitle
Panther 3.
would be.
I'm not sure. You know, fucking
That's
switch
where
it
you
up.
draw the line. You're
Switch
like,
it the fuck up.
Black Panther versus Submariner, Dawn of Justice. Bring it on.
Oh shit!
Falcon and the Winter Soldier gets a poster. Not much to talk about here. We just see Bucky's new haircut. He's gone back to the short look.
I like it.
And
He's
slight
looking well
look.
groomed.
Yeah, he's looking good. Maybe
I miss Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy
I
Bucky.
like the long hair too. But
I'm over it,
I think
man.
some people have been clamoring for his original film look. And we get a slight look at the Falcon's new outfit. Looks a little bit Captain America inspired, so that's cool.
Not completely, but on the way.
Just a touch.
Once again, hand drawn, not a photo.
Yeah, this it's weirding me out, man.
Yeah.
We get a bunch of concept art from the Eternals. We get the whole cast on stage and shown what they're potentially going to look like in the film.
I've yet to see this.
Oh, really? Oh, I've got it up here.
Yeah.
I think it
Have a
looks.
gander.
I think it looks quite bland.
It looks very generic.
Yeah,
Very
especially
kind of-
considering they're adapting Jack Kirby designs, which are extremely outlandish. It seems like they've gone a little safer, but not as safe as perhaps they would have gone 10 years ago. Like, at least there's a lot of color there.
Yeah. They're not like uniform or monotone or anything
Yeah.
like that. They do
Yeah.
feel as though there's a little bit to it. I think something that will make it interesting is there's always that in concept art, like seeing something in motion and seeing something in concept art is very different.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single superhero costume that's ever looked better before we've seen it on screen than when we've seen it on screen.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, this looks like Green Lantern ass shit.
What? That's just because it's a digital painting. I mean,
Yeah, I hope
'Cause
they
that movie was like-
iron that out because I'm not. Yeah.
Well, in what way do you think it looks?
Well, I'm curious on how they're going to execute these costumes. They look very CGI focused, and then are we going to get?
Because they're it's artwork.
No, but I'm saying how will they actually execute that in the film? You know,
Oh.
will that be a physical costume or will it be CG? Because from the looks of
I would
that,
suspect that all looks like physical costumes to me.
because it looks like there's almost like moving elements on them that'll like float around. I don't know.
Also, it looks, and I think Ben, you mentioned this in the show notes, but it looks like Kumail Nanjiani has been spending a lot of time with Dave Bautista.
he's fucking jacked, man. When you watch the actual video of his arms moving around, I'm like, holy
Well,
shit.
I watched him he did a Hot Ones episode recently,
Oh, yeah.
and he looks fucking jacked in that too.
Yeah,
like
nice.
I remember like seeing him come up on the screen, I was like, Kumail?
He's not allowed to eat wings on the Marvel diet.
Yeah, I was like, good lord.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Monstering.
Yeah, seriously.
And just a side note for the Eternals, Kit Harington has been cast as the Black Knight. So he's joining his Game of Thrones brother.
That's such a hilarious casting.
Yeah, it's a bit on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he was just like nipping at the heels of the MCU, like, come on, let me in. I'll play anything. He's like, okay, how about you play Jon Snow? He's like, oh, fine, all right.
Yeah, I'll do it. Fine.
Yeah. I don't know much about that character. He kind of has a lineage that dates back to Arthurian times. He has the Ebony Blade, I think it's called, which has an insatiable bloodlust that the more it slays, the more it drives the user mad. So I don't know what they're going to do with him, but it should be interesting.
There is okay. I'm not, that weirdly makes me kind of excited because I remember reading a novel a couple years back by, I'm pretty sure it was by Brendan Sanderson, who did like Mistborn and all that. And there's a character in one of these novels that talks to his sword throughout the entire novel. And that concept was something that I hadn't kind of come across before, but
The Green Ranger from Power
interested.
Rangers.
Yeah, man.
I was never a big Power Rangers guy.
He plays his flute. He doesn't even blow into it because there's like
He's got a
He's
metal
wearing a
mouth.
helmet.
It's got a
I
mask
don't think
on.
about it too much, man.
Yeah. Anyways, in that novel, it was the same kind of thing. Like the sword had this like bloodlust and wanted to kill things, and that conversation that he had with the sword, I was like so fascinated by that.
Kill.
Yeah, by that thing.
Do it.
And when you're just talking about that there, I was like, fuck, they could do so much interesting shit with that.
And that comic book was called Black Knight.
The novel. Not a fucking child, George. Read
Comic books.
novels.
That graphic novel was
Yeah.
Black Knight.
So the final Marvel news, and this one got me very excited, is that WandaVision will feature returning MCU characters S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Jimmy Woo, played by Randall Park from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Kat Dennings as Darcy from Thor 1 and 2. Never thought I would see her again.
Yeah, seriously,
I
right?
really don't like that character.
Yeah, she's got a vocal anti fan base. I
And I
enjoy
like
the hell out
Kat
of her.
Dennings. I think
That's
she's
bizarre
funny.
to me because she's just playing Kat Dennings.
I think.
Wait, why do you like Kat
think-
Dennings?
I think Kat Dennings, not in a Marvel context, works. I think when it's shoved.
Oh, because
in there-
you're a big Two Broke Girls fan.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple episodes.
Oh,
Have you really?
admitted it.
I can say whatever now. Like I can say I could watch fucking I watch King Arthur or every single night,
I've
and I'm
seen it.
still better than you now because you watched.
Two Broke Girls. But Randall Park as Jimmy Woo was one of the absolute saving graces of Ant-Man and
love
the Wasp
Randall
for
Park.
me. He's so funny.
He's fucking hilarious.
Um,
I've watched a couple of episodes of his TV show,
Fresh Off the Boat.
Fresh Off the Boat, and
Yeah.
I am so fascinated to like delve into that properly.
It's really good, actually.
I love him in that. Yeah.
What? How is this going to work in the context of this film?
Yeah, right. How are these characters going to be meeting with these characters?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I mean, from what we can understand, it's going to be some kind of reality hopping series. So I guess anything's on the table.
I'm so excited for that.
I'm assuming maybe as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, Jimmy Woo will be like their liaison or something,
Yeah.
or keeping an eye on
How
her.
does Kat, like this is the weird thing? How does Kat Dennings fit into this? How is she in any way, shape, or form a relevant character?
So she has worked as an assistant to probably one of the more preeminent scientists on the planet.
Yeah.
So that could definitely tie into it some way. Who knows?
She was comedic relief.
No, totally. But she was an assistant still. Like, so she could plot-wise tie in. We haven't seen her since, 2014? So that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like 9 years of her character that we haven't seen. So,
Okay. Do you think she will continue on as the comic relief, or do you think?
oh,
that there's gonna
definitely.
be a
She's
little
not going to
bit
be
more
a
of
serious dramatic
Well,
actor.
that's my
in
point. Like, is she just going to be like
If you've
this
seen
kind of weird?
two Broke Girls, you would know that.
Yeah.
If you're a connoisseur like George.
Yeah.
No, this I think the randomization of it is really intriguing, and I think then you go add on the poster on top of that, and this is going to be wild, man.
Yeah, so
I'm curious to where this goes.
this is the art that was one of the only things we'd known about this for so long that we'd heard about. It's kind of the 50s aesthetic. And the interesting thing, I guess, is the shadow in the background. You can see the silhouette of Vision and the comic book version of Scarlet Witch, who might finally make an appearance. I'm very keen to see where this goes. Apparently, it'll lead right into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So
Cool.
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Nice. I'm really hope that they can get that working, that sort of Disney Plus show, and then the cinema, and then sort of bouncing
That's
off
going to
each
be
other.
the biggest thing because they are actually taking quite a bit of a risk in maybe it might be a risk. It depends on what they do because we've always talked about the Marvel or the MCU has been good at leaving gaps in between films and allowing the audience to fill in those gaps with kind of clues in the movies, and they kind of rely on.
There's no more gaps now, Connor.
But that's my point. Like, are they just going to fill in the normal sized gaps that they would normally do, or are they going to like do big plot points that you would actually need to see these TV shows to understand what's happening in the movies now? Like, is that going to be a requirement?
I don't know. They've been quite good about rewarding the fanboys or rewarding those invested in the series while still, if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, you can still watch, Endgame.
Yeah. But as from a business point of view, it would kind of behoove them to incentivize people to get the streaming services because that's a recurring amount of revenue. So they would be able to say like, look, if you want to understand what's going on, like they kind of raise the stakes. Like you want to be involved in the MCU, you get Disney Plus.
They'll start doing the editor's notes like the comic books do, like a little asterisk saying, for more about this, read issue, yada, yada, yada.
In the middle of like a theatrical release movie. Yeah.
Bust out your iPhone and chuck on this episode.
There's the what are they called? The little square things that you can put on your phone, and it brings up this is the page that you need to look at. Do you know what are they called?
What?
Do you know the little black and white squiggly things that you can like scan on your phone, and it brings up a...
Whoa.
Surely you know
You mean
what
like
I'm talking
the QR
about.
codes?
Yes, thank you.
Oh. I was like,
Um,
can you teach me this song? Oh, it's QR codes. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Matrix shit on your phone. Like you see that all around, right?
I'm like expecting my phone to start feeding me in a second.
All right, so that's it for Marvel news. Next up, now this one I think you'll like, Georgie. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are scoring Pixar's next film, Soul.
The day Trent Reznor works for Disney, man, I thought the world would implode. Obviously
not just Disney Pixar.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't really see this coming in the 90s with 9 Inch Nails and whatnot. This is,
I wanna fuck you.
this is
like
very
an animal.
this is very out of the blue and very cool. Their scoring work is some of the best out there.
And Soul is shaping itself up to be a very interesting project.
Yeah, directed by Pete Docter, who did Monsters Inc. and Up, 2 great ones. We don't know much about it at this point, but
I think we know. We read like a really general synopsis. I think, when we first reported on it, didn't we? Can you remember what it is?
Taking us beyond the I don't know. It's just expanding horizons.
Just watch the fucking movie.
It sounds like something along the lines of Inside Out. Which is interesting. We got a trailer for Lady and the Tramp. The next.
I have to say, I honestly, when I saw the poster for this on, I think it was like on Facebook or something like that, I thought it was a joke. I thought someone was taking the piss.
That's
You honestly didn't think Disney would do this?
Well, I thought someone honestly, I thought it was satire. I thought it was like, oh, Disney's just doing live action of things. Like next is Lady and the Tramp. I was like, oh, that's funny. Like,
and now you realize
how
you're in
ridiculous.
the simulation.
Yeah, seriously. And then like
Donald Trump's president, the Amazon's burning down. The Simpsons predicted it all. Fuck.
I honestly, when you said it. When you say like, all right, well, the next trailer we're gonna watch is Lady and the Tramp, my brain just went. I was like, what? You're fucking serious?
Everything that I thought
that's
was
when
untrue.
that's when you finally switch on Disney. Like, no, they've gone too far.
I'm not getting Disney Plus, man. He finally crashed.
Trailer is trash. Fuck this trailer.
I would say the one positive I'll say is I don't think they nailed it, but I think that
This is the worst positive
this
comment
whole
ever.
this whole realistic animal talking works much better in this context than The Lion King.
I agree, because for the most part, it is real animals that have been kind of manipulated to emote, which is the opposite of The Lion King, which is fake animals that have been manipulated to look exactly like real animals.
Yeah, but I think it looks possibly more wonky on this than it does.
I
in
think
The
so.
Lion King.
I
The
usually
Lion King
think
doesn't
so.
look particularly right, but this looks like.
I just think the general cohesiveness seems to kind of work a bit better.
For the most part, except that bit
I
on the
don't
hill
know.
at the end, it
Maybe.
does look like the production of it looks fine. Like it looks like real things in a real place, which
Looks
I
solid.
always like.
See, I just for me it looks like the voices aren't actually like even more so than Lion King. The voices do not look like they are coming from the dogs. They did very few shots of the animals actually talking where you could see them talking. It was just kind of it felt very much like a voiceover,
Which they did very much with the Lion King trailers as well, if you remember. I guess
Oh, I suppose they did, yeah.
the world's not ready for it, but they'll keep making it happen.
I just this is. I hated this trailer. It was so bad.
Yeah, this is not one that I feel like they should have put up front.
I've never seen
in this
Lady and the
remake
Tramp.
thing. It's a really nice movie, but it's so perfect for animation. It's bizarre.
It's very much like
stop doing
Lion
the
King.
talking animal ones.
Yeah,
remake
fuck, like, how hard is
remake Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Okay, that could be
I think
wicked.
they are.
Yeah.
With Tom Holland.
No, there was I thought that was fan casting.
Oh, is it?
That's
pretty
definitely
sure
not
it is.
real. Have you heard it on our show, George? Then it's not real.
Yeah,
I heard it on the Reddits.
I heard it on a real
I'm pretty
show.
sure there was a fan casting, and I remember seeing that, and I was really impressed with who they got to play each one.
Oh yeah, I'll have to look that up because
yeah,
that's a fun cast of characters.
There's oh fuck, the one that really stood out for me. It was so obvious. I knew it even before they saw it. Was the is it the cook? Was Terry Crews. And I was like, yeah, of course it is.
Right.
Like it's just so spot on. And even before I saw Terry Crews like pop up in that thing,
I thought you were going to say Danny DeVito as the mole guy.
I think Danny DeVito is the mole guy in this thing. It has. I've got to look it up. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I'll get on to. Let's continue, but I'll come up. We'll do this as a final follow up.
Grand finale.
All right. So the final trailer, I had to finish on this. This is just too good. It's The World According to Jeff Goldblum, something I had no idea existed, nor did I know how much I needed and wanted it.
I just want to see that guy walk around and do shit.
Oh my
Exactly.
God.
That's all it is.
Weirdo.
It's a little docuseries that's
Fucking
just
awesome.
Jeff
How
Goldblum
much-
learning things.
How much of Jeff Goldblum do you think is actually Jeff Goldblum?
I
Like,
was
do you think he
thinking
puts this
that.
on?
100%. But there's, I wonder, like, how many people have seen this guy break down, and sort of, he's a fascinating guy, and I wonder how much is dialed in and how much is not dialed in.
I mean, it's definitely like put on. That's like charm generally is, but he has oodles of it. It just doesn't seem to stop.
I can't help but love the guy.
Like, I'd never want to hear from one of his exes or something because they never have good things to say about you. And it would be like, no, he's Jeff Goldblum. Shut up. He left you. He's a beautiful creature, and the idea of a docuseries about him just going around learning things, even if I'm not interested in the topics, it sounds so good.
Nice to see that Disney can get into these other nooks and crannies that is not just IP based.
I mean, Jeff Goldblum is kind of an IP in his own right.
Totally, but
Yeah.
it's like sort of narrative based.
Yeah, like
superheroes.
I guess-
and sci-fi and fantasy.
I don't know. Would this be on the Nat Geo part of the
I think
of
it
the
would
thing?
be,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's cool to see something different coming out of
Yeah,
there.
I think I'm going to be watching a lot of Nat Geo, man.
I'm not.
I'm going to get into those rainforest documentaries.
Really? Have either of you seen Free Solo yet?
No.
Because I think that's under Nat Geo.
That's going to give me a heart attack. I'm never going to watch that.
Yeah.
Let's finish up on what everyone's most excited for.
Can we
Hands
just
together?
The problem is I'm not going to.
Marvel, Disney, start a cult.
It's already a cult, George.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I did see. This is a problem because I can never remember actors' names. So Ben, you tell me who those people are.
Andrew Garfield,
Well, I know-
not
yeah,
Tom
sorry.
Holland, as Milo Thatch.
Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't
Tommy
see
Lee?
the rest. Is that
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, it's Tommy
Charlize Theron?
Charlize
Yeah,
Theron
and
as
Zoe Saldana.
Yes.
And that's it.
Tommy Lee Jones. Oh no, there's more.
Zoe Saldana as Keita, yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know who that is. Terry Crews is the doctor. The guy that plays Peter
Peter
Pettigrew
Pettigrew.
as the rat.
Timothy Spall.
Yep.
Is that John Turturro
Yes,
as the,
yeah.
the
Turturro.
explosives
As
expert?
the explosives guy. Morgan Freeman as the old Atlantean dude, and
Helen Mirren.
Nice.
It's pretty spot on.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
It's just missing Tom Holland, and then
Yeah, and
to go.
then you're set.
good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. What's everyone most excited for out of D23? Is it getting Disney Plus? Is it watching first episode of Mandalorian? Is it,
Look,
Lady and the Tramp?
I haven't been negative on Disney Plus at all. Mostly because there's a lot of content coming out that I am quite excited for, and I will be getting it day one. I do want to have to do my mandatory sledging of Disney.
We're
Plus.
working away at you. You said you're getting a day one now, so that's a huge
Yeah.
step forward.
Wow.
But I have to do my mandatory thing. Is I don't like this trend. I think that this is concerning for me.
It's only going to amplify.
Yeah, it's just it's a worrying trend, and I think that as soon as we start having, producer or content producers just provide their own stuff on a single streaming platform, then in order to get all the content that you want, you're going to have 10 to 15 different streaming providers. Whereas now you can get away with just having Netflix or Stan or Amazon Prime. Like if you really want to be a completionist, you can have all three, but having one gives you enough of a taste of everything.
I think it's going to get so fragmented to the point where, Shudder's coming out.
Mhm.
You're going to get
That's my point.
you're going to get so many streaming services that you're not going to be able to afford having more than 3. But because I'm into anime, horror, and Disney, I'm going to get Shudder, Anime Lab, and
So you think you foresee
Disney
a time
Plus.
where you won't have Netflix, Stan, or Amazon Prime?
I don't have Stan or Amazon Prime.
So you think you'll get rid of Netflix?
No.
So then you'll have 4.
Anime Lab's free.
I was saying within that.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
That wasn't me. Like that was just me
Okay,
saying
yeah.
an
I see what
example
you
of
mean.
3.
Yeah.
So
But then like that really narrows down what you watch in kind of your streaming.
and I
format.
think that's the wave of the internet. Like
But that's not necessarily a good thing because then you lose the ability to find new things.
there's just so much going on that it's you can't even keep up now. Like
That exactly that's my
you've got
point. Like,
TikTok, social media, you've got Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Reddit. Like you're gonna miss.
Don't get me
jumping in.
started on the TikTok.
You
Yeah.
get me missed.
I mean,
Find us
like,
on TikTok, guys.
one of the things that I like about Netflix is that you get like these weird kind of sci-fi projects that probably wouldn't get funded or released in other platforms, but that kind of come out on Netflix, and occasionally you get some like really cool ones.
Yeah.
But you also have a huge comedy following. Like I think Dave Chappelle has like 3 or 4 comedy specials on Netflix.
Yeah, I
and you're
watch
like,
heaps of comedy on Netflix.
yeah, it's crazy. And then like on the same platform, you've got, content from different producers and all that kind of stuff. It's not just Netflix original stuff you're getting. So that is what I'm worried that we're going to start losing. And I think that would be a real shame. Anyways, moving on to what we're most excited for. Honestly,
Disney Plus.
I think it's...
What are you most excited for? I'm just so tired.
Yeah, it's getting a bit like that. But honestly, I think it might be The World According to Jeff Goldblum, oddly
Nice.
enough.
Such a good trailer.
It's weird, but I feel like that might be what I'm most excited. That or The Mandalorian, I think.
Hope that's on the day one. My picks are not what I would have expected, but Mandalorian I'm very keen to see.
Mhm.
And
Nice.
The Eternals I'm so curious about. A lot of the concept art I've seen,
Yeah.
not stuff we've really talked about here, but a lot of the stuff dealing with Celestials and just the talk about how it's going to potentially span millennia. I'm very curious. And that's an amazing cast.
It feels like it's taking that kind of MCU universe and stepping it up a little bit, and being like, we're entering the realm of gods now.
Yeah, you thought that was the real shit?
Yeah.
Sit
And
back.
that's something that I thought that the DCEU nearly, they were kind of like on the grasps or the cusps of like, bringing godly aspects into that, but they just kind of think they kind of jumped at it a bit too soon.
Yeah, it's got to be
George?
Star Wars news, man. Mandalorian, like all that Star Wars news, I'm really stoked on.
Yeah.
But Mandalorian is definitively at the top, and the fact that that's a launch title for Disney Plus.
And Obi Wan, you would still consider that like just right up at the top there?
Yeah, I just can't wait to see that. I'm really curious to see where they go with the. Listen,
You are who Disney like markets to, because they know that you've been negative for the last couple of years, and they're like, but you want a little bit of Obi Wan?
a little bit.
Hey, buddy, come on. And you're like, okay.
Obi-Wan's the best.
You just forget everything
Yeah,
that
I'm a
they've ever
fucking
done
piece
to
of
you.
shit.
Yeah, you just forget it.
I'm
And
a
you're like,
fucking
okay.
garbage truck of a human being.
I'm also really excited for the release method for these shows, the weekly release. I love that they're releasing Mandalorian
Drags
week
it
to
out
week.
more.
Yeah, I just think that's going to be really fun for the kind of the conversation, socially and on the show even.
Because Game of Thrones was the same. It kind of just kept going, and everyone was like, "What's going to happen
And
next?"
it really
week?
kept it in the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smart move. Well, there we have it, guys. Let us know what your picks of favorites for D23. Tons to catch up on, and tons to talk about in the coming months. That's what I'm trying to say. Coming years, and we'll be talking about it. So hit that subscribe button. We'll be back next week for our weekly show plus It Chapter 2. It's going to be awesome. Connor,
Bye.
that thing was awesome.
That thing was awesome.
What's the?
What is our new sign off?
What is
It's
it?
like,
We're not doing this.
What is it?
It will be.
it will be
Don't-
awesome. Yeah.
Why did I?
It will be
It
awesome.
will be awesome.
Bye, everybody.
It will be awesome, Benny.
Bye.
It will be awesome, Benny. Say it.
It will be awesome, everyone.
Say it.
It might be awesome.
I'll take it.
We'll make him do it.